Hey everyone, in a world that feels louder and more chaotic than ever, we're going to dive into this ancient story that is honestly so incredibly relevant today. It's all about burnout, finding your way in the quiet, and what it really means to build a legacy that lasts. So let's get into this powerful story of the prophet's mantle.
We're going to frame our whole story around this really human question, because this is exactly where we find one of the Bible's greatest prophets, Elijah, literally moments after his biggest public victory.
All right, so let's set the stage. We're about to see a classic case of emotional whiplash, where this massive, incredible win is immediately followed by crushing fear and just total burnout.
I mean, listen to this. This is Elijah's prayer. You can just feel the despair, can't you? And the crazy part is, this cry for help comes right after he single-handedly defeated 450 false prophets on Mount Carmel. It just goes to show you how fast our highest highs can crash into our lowest lows.
So let's break down how this happened. First, you've got this incredible, miraculous victory on Mount Carmel. But then, just one single death threat from the ruthless Queen Jezebel, and he's running for his life. He leaves his servant behind, travels for a full day into the desert, and just collapses. He's done.
But here's the thing, even at rock bottom, he's not completely alone. An angel shows up, not with some big, grand speech, but with the simple, practical care he actually needed, food and water. And that simple act of kindness is enough to fuel him for a 40-day journey to Mount Horeb, a place known for divine encounters.
Okay, so this journey is building to the story's big turning point. After 40 days, Elijah is hiding out in a cave on the mountain of God, and it's right here that the real conversation is about to begin.
So God asks him, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" And this is his answer. Did you catch that key phrase? "I am the only one left." He feels completely and totally isolated, like his entire life's work has been for nothing.
What happens next is just a profound lesson in how to listen. God tells him to go stand at the mouth of the cave. And then this terrifying wind comes and shatters the rocks, but God wasn't in the wind. Then comes an earthquake, but God wasn't in the earthquake. Then a fire, but nope, God wasn't in the fire either. All that spectacle, all that noise, all that chaos, that's not where the message was.
And then it comes. A gentle whisper. A still, small voice. And this is the absolute core lesson here. Renewal and direction don't come from more noise or a bigger spectacle. They come when we intentionally quiet the chaos in our lives and just listen. That's the mindset, right? Learning to obey those quiet callings.
So this quiet encounter, it doesn't lead to Elijah's retirement, not at all. Instead, it leads to a complete reboot of his purpose. It's a new mission, but a much, much quieter one.
First things first, God directly addresses that feeling of being totally alone. He reveals that there are actually 7,000 people left in Israel who have stayed faithful. Elijah thought he was the only one left, but he was never alone. I mean, what a massive perspective shift.
Then God gives him a really concrete three-part plan. He's supposed to anoint 2 new kings, sure, but the most important part? He's told to anoint Elisha to be his own successor. You see the shift? His mission isn't about his own spectacular victories anymore. It's about empowering the next generation of leaders. His whole focus moves from personal performance to building a legacy. And that brings us to that crucial third part of the plan, finding and anointing his successor, Elisha. This is where we get this powerful idea of passing the mantle, that symbolic cloak that represents a prophet's authority, their responsibility, and their spirit. The call was so simple. Elijah finds Elisha out plowing a field and just throws his cloak, his mantle, right over him. But Elisha's response is immediate and total. He doesn't just quit his job. He slaughters his oxen and uses his own plowing equipment as firewood to cook the meat. He is burning the bridges to his old life. There is no going back. After that, Elisha serves Elijah faithfully. As they get near the end of Elijah's life, Elijah actually tests him 3 different times, telling him to stay behind. And 3 times Elisha gives this exact same answer, showing this incredible, unwavering loyalty to his mentor.
Finally, Elijah asks his student this profound question. It's his final act as a mentor, offering one last gift. I mean, think about that. What would you ask for in that moment? This is Elisha's famous reply. Now, this isn't him being greedy, okay? He's not asking for twice the power. A double portion was the specific inheritance given to the firstborn son.
So Elisha isn't asking to be greater than Elijah. He's asking to be his true heir, to have the right to carry on the family name, the mission, the legacy. And with his heir confirmed, Elijah makes one of the most dramatic exits in all of literature. All of a sudden, a chariot of fire and horses of fire appear, and Elijah is taken up to heaven in a whirlwind. Just incredible.
But Elijah's departure isn't the end of the story. Not even close. It's actually the beginning of the very next chapter, because the mission has to continue. Elisha sees Elijah's cloak, his mantle, has fallen to the ground. And in this simple, profound act, he just picks it up. He accepts the responsibility. And this really gets at our next key idea. Faith isn't just a personal thing. It's a mantle that's passed from one generation to the next.
He immediately goes to the Jordan River, the same one they had just crossed. He strikes the water with the cloak and asks this crucial make-or-break question. He's not just testing the cloak. He's calling on the same God who empowered his mentor.
And the result, it's immediate and powerful. The water parts, just like it did for Elijah. This is the confirmation. The spirit, the power, the mission, it's all been successfully passed on. The legacy is secure.
So, what can we take away from all this? First, burnout is so real, but renewal often comes from obeying those quiet callings, not from chasing more noise. Second, your true legacy isn't measured by what you accomplish alone, but by who you invest in and empower to carry on the work. Third, faith takes courage, the courage to pick up the mantle when it's your turn. And finally, God's presence doesn't just end with one hero. It continues from one generation to the next, ready to guide you just like it guided them.
And that leaves us with a question to really think about. In the beautiful chaos of your own family, your community, your work, whose mantle of wisdom are you ready to pick up? And just as important, what mantle of character, of faith, of purpose are you intentionally weaving to leave behind for others?